I have
Welcome,
nothing.
White Sox fans. How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to another edition of White Sox Daily Live. My name is Ian Eskridge. I'm here with my co-host, the Danny Miller. How you doing, Danny?
You know what? Doing all right. Happy to be here on a Tuesday evening. Wish there was some more interesting news than what we have to go with tonight, but there's some positives happening that we'll talk about a little bit this evening. But yeah, man, doing great. Love the work that you have put in to give us a new look here, new background as opposed to the static golden box seats. Danny and Ian, doing the show from the golden box seats at the old Comiskey. So yeah, I'm really liking it, man. I just want to say thank you for all your hard work and effort
Yeah,
that you put into the show for us, man.
yeah, of
So
course,
how's
man.
things with you?
Things are good. Just had a nice weekend of being sick and having the flu. That was awesome. So
No,
that's
that's
done
not
now.
cool.
Hey, Murray, thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate it. What's up, Grimtall? How you doing? Is that Mr. Bean?
Grim,
Looks like Mr. Bean.
Mr.
Anywho,
Bean.
some interesting things happened today. We had a major reshuffling of the White Sox minor league coaching staffs. So that's some good news. Like you said, we saw some things happening that have been kind of in the works for a few years. They're finally coming to fruition. So that's kind of nice to see. Other things we'll cover tonight is some of the prospect rankings have moved around for top 100s for Baseball Prospectus and Baseball America, MLB Pipeline. Everybody has released their top 100s, and there's been at least you know on most of them there's been two of our guys that are moving around down there. So that's really nice to see that there's some stuff going on. And
At least someone. I mean, last year we didn't have a single name on there for the better part of the season anyway.
yeah, it's been
So
a while
yeah.
since there's been somebody, especially somebody in at least in you know most lists, there hasn't been anybody in the top 40 in ages. Since you know Andrew Vaughn moved up, and even then, I think he was top. I think the highest he got was like 45 or something like that, if I
I was
remember
just gonna
correctly.
say that. I think that is the exact number, 45.
Yeah, so it's nice to see some of our guys getting recognized, and I mean, let's be honest. Anybody has a 50 game on base streak in the minors, there better be some recognition for that. So
I agree 1000%. And there'll be the naysayers out there that said, well, it was at, the lowest levels of the minors, but it really actually was one of those things that continued after being bumped a level. And when you go from advanced A to Birmingham, you will see, some guys maybe struggle a little bit. But we see Colson doing some things that at a young age will probably I think he'll probably transcend every bump that he goes up, level by level. Like the kid's just got a sweet swing. His plate approach is something that a lot of the guys on the current roster could take notes from, to be honest with you. He's got a really good two strike approach. He shortens up his swing, he makes sure to make contact, and he hits the ball hard.
it's really there have been in the last year or so, there's been a lot of positive developments, and I'm here for it. especially
Absolutely.
especially
I
after
mean, we
watching
got to
some
take
bad
all the
baseball.
positive we can get.
Yeah. Yeesh. Um, yeah. Otherwise, I mean, there really hasn't been a whole lot on the major league front, unfortunately. Um,
No,
you know,
the
other than
depth issues remain, and we're getting to crunch time here. Pitchers and catchers will be reporting. I think it was 2 weeks
15
from
days,
yesterday.
15 days today. It's
15 days today. Okay,
February
2 weeks
15th.
tomorrow.
Yeah, day after Valentine's Day. Yep.
Okay, yeah. And that's not to say that we've heard about some guys already being active in Arizona, and that's fine and dandy. But official report day being the 15th, and still seeing some glaring depth holes for this organization is concerning. But I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit more as we go on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, for this week, just for the fact that there's been some nice shuffling around down in the minors, and I kind of want to, especially after last week of all the negative talk, I want to keep it a little bit more positive this week and not, you know, necessarily bring up all that stuff. There's plenty of time to talk about that. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, the problem is there's not plenty of time to get things done. At least not in the fashion that you would hope for anyway.
yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, let's put this out there: is that neither one of us, no matter what we do, it doesn't matter. So,
Right.
like I'm saying, we have plenty of time to talk about that nonsense. We don't have to worry about it at all.
Right.
Realistically, the front office, they have things that they need to take care of, and let's hope that something good comes, and they do manage to address some of these issues. But your guess is as good as mine is whether or not we're
Yeah, I
actually going to
just
see
don't wanna
anything.
be sitting here on opening day saying 2 tears in a bucket. Do you know what I mean? Uh, I'll just end this conversation because, like you said, we were trying to keep this week positive for the most part, and, I just don't wanna come to opening day and feel like, whatever." That's basically what it comes down to. I don't wanna have this hate, especially for a team that, continues to push this window of contention down our throat. Although, to be honest with you, we said it a little bit last week. We haven't heard much of anything from the team this
Yeah.
offseason. So
No, there
there's
yeah, there
that.
hasn't really been a whole lot. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot of communication there. And I mean, what you're gonna say about what as a fan, what you actually deserve, what you deserve from the organization, as far as like communication. I mean, I understand that you know ultimately our money is the ones who are paying for all this stuff for the most part. I mean, some people will argue that the fans' money has absolutely nothing to do with anything. We've heard that argument before, but
No
you
fans,
know
no baseball. So, you can give me that
exactly.
argument all you want.
That's yeah, exactly.
If nobody's watching on TV and nobody's watching at the game and nobody's buying any gear, well, there's no money, period. So,
Yeah. Yeah, Grimtall says the trade market is the best course of action. Says the guy who made no MLB level trades. Well, I mean, they did trade for the Giants' Gregory Santos, so that's not entirely
oh,
100% accurate because he could, he might end up as on the major league roster at some point as bullpen guy.
well,
Hey, I'm
okay.
trying to be positive. I told you.
All right, all right. I
Yeah,
won't poo-poo on your positivity.
yeah. I mean, we know that there's issues. We know that there are things that need to be worked on. This stream, I'm trying
Bro.
to I'm trying to keep it on the level. Just this week.
I
That's it.
got you. I got
Yeah.
you. I everybody here knows I can serve up a pretty good poo-poo platter, but I will not do that this week. I will try
Yeah.
my best anyways. No promises. No, no, none, no promises, because somebody's gonna set me off. Whether it's you or somebody in the chat's gonna say something stupid and it's gonna get me going. So let's keep rolling.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some of that. Um yeah, so I don't know if you saw it today, but Grimtall, you should be super fired up. The Dodgers signed Dylan Covey to a minor league contract today. So that's big news coming from MLB world. So
Need to get the air raid sirens and the nuclear meltdown or
well,
the old friend alert alarm. Dylan Covey.
yeah, Grimtall just dot 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 dot. Yeah. The White Sox did sign an infielder today, Nate Mondu. Um, I don't really know much about
Yeah.
him.
Who?
Yeah, I don't know much about him. That's a guy I'm gonna have to look up because I legitimately have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Not that that means anything and that he's not any good. It just means I have no idea who he is.
I think somebody on this show is possessed by an owl.
Who?
Hey, there it is.
Uh, he'll start 22 games and post up 5 WAR. Dodgers blue is the magic sauce. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
You hold on to that optimism.
Hey, I hope so. I hope he has a great year.
We all know Grimtall has the innocence of a child.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. But he does like the Dodgers. I'll say that.
Sure.
The
Oh,
Dodgers,
I
the
can't wait to
Sox
see what
also
he's got to say.
claimed a former Dodgers draft pick with an 11 career ERA.
Ooh,
Yeah. What's it? AJ.
there's that depth piece.
What's his last name? Alexi. AJ. That's what it was. That's another guy. I don't really know much about him. The last couple of days have been super busy, so I didn't really have a whole lot of time to really look up anything as far as
Let's see,
his stats go. So I'm
let's
actually
see.
kind of AJ
8
Alexi.
years.
So
AJ Lexi. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and also
Oof.
yesterday Josh Harrison signs with the Phillies. So anybody who was thinking that Josh Harrison was going to get re-signed, even though you've got the they paid him to go away, buyout money. For whatever reason, anybody thinks that he's coming back. Well, that's definitely not happening because he signed with the World Series National League representative, the Phillies.
Was it 1 year, 2 mil? I think.
I think it was like, what was it? Yeah, I think it was 2 million because he's making 3.5 million for the year, and 1.5 of it's from the White Sox. So yeah,
Right.
1 year, 2 million. So good for him. Hope he has a great year. Reddit claims the Sox signed Michael Pineda. Well,
Reddit claims a lot of things.
yeah. In fact, Grimtall cued me into a thread of insider news on Reddit yesterday, and it was like 30 point thing just listing off all this stuff. And I got a question. Why do people do this? Act like you know?
Oh, like they have some kind of in
Yeah, I don't understand
fake
it.
it.
Yeah, I mean between Twitter or Reddit or wherever, there's always somebody who claims
I
that they've
have
got
sources.
they've got some sort of crazy inside info, and they're gonna drop a bunch of knowledge on us, and it's like half of it you
Yep.
just look at it and you know that it's nonsense right off the bat.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't understand. Kind of.
Unless it comes from Katy Perry's booty hole, and
Yes, or
not
wet butt.
actual
Yeah.
Katy Perry or wet, but yeah, Reddit handles. We're not talking about actually Katy Perry's booty hole. That would be inappropriate. But yeah,
Quite the
if it came
username.
from right, some people still think Wet Butt 23 was Rick Hahn, but we don't know.
Never
Yeah,
know.
unless it comes from either one of those guys, I don't buy anything on Reddit when it comes to White Sox. We got the other
Yeah.
guy who was on what isn't that Reddit or was that Twitter? The other guy that was like, I'm an orderly at a hospital and I
Oh,
spent some time taking care of, high level executive. Give me a break.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know,
This
man.
high level executive told me everything about the White Sox offseason plan and what was going down during the season. And here's my list of crap. I'm stacking it tall and spread it on thick.
Yeah, I don't get it. I like the thing is that the fact that anybody even gives these guys the time of day just blows my mind. So
Gribtall asks, what were the coaching staff changes? And I think that's a perfect segue to get right into that. What do you
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. I'm gonna go ahead and got this thing on the half screen mode. Go ahead and bring that up.
Hey, bingo, bango. What happened?
Oh, that's not what I
Oof,
wanted.
no.
Been one of those days.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing our streamers are not seeing what we're seeing in the background here.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, that's why you do the special view,
Yeah,
and it's still not
we are
working.
special. My mom used to tell me I was
Yikes.
special every morning right before she put my helmet on to get on the school bus.
Yep.
Window liquor.
No, that's not the one I want either. I don't know what the heck's going on here. It's like everything else was working, just for whatever reason, like this isn't working right now. Um.
No, oh,
Oh, you know what? I know
I
why.
saw something.
No, I know why it is.
It was there and then it wasn't.
Herder. So dumb.
This will all be gone in post.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's how that whole thing
If
goes.
you haven't been here with us before, we do this every now and again. Just hang tight. White Sox Daily Live is experiencing
Oh
technical
man.
difficulties.
All right. Here we go. Now on to the coaching changes. All right. So, as you can see, Class A Kannapolis. Um, Patrick Leland, the son of Jim Leland. Yeah, yeah, takes over for uh, Guillermo Quiroz, who moves up to Winston-Salem. And John Eli, who was in Kannapolis last year, moves up also with Guillermo. And Blake Hickman is now the pitching coach. You might recognize that name. Blake Hickman was a White Sox draftee. Threw about 50 games or so for the White Sox for Kannapolis. And I can't remember if he pitched for Winston-Salem or not, but he's now on as a pitching coach. He's also a former ace, the White Sox youth baseball initiative. So that's cool. Hitting coach Charlie Romero, trainer AJ Smith. Don't know a lick about AJ Smith, and performance coach Juan Maldonado. Also do not know. So Drew Hassler is in ACL. Not really a whole lot of crazy changes down there in the ACL. So there's that. All right, so moving on. With the Winston-Salem Dash, like I mentioned, Guillermo Quiroz and John Eli move up to Winston-Salem. Logan Jones, who was just hired a couple months ago, there's a tweet about that we tweeted about when he got hired a couple weeks back. And from Winston-Salem to AA, Lorenzo Bundy moves up with Danny Farquhar and Nicky Delmonico. So they get bumped up a level as well. In between conversations with Andy Barquette and just, a bunch of stuff that I've heard is that the whole thing with the White Sox, with their plan, and this includes Project Birmingham and all this stuff, is that they are trying to establish a program across the entire minor league system, not just in one level. They want everybody doing the exact same things across all levels. Yeah. So for the AAA for the Charlotte Knights, obviously Justin Jersley moves up from the Barons to Charlotte, and Matt Zaleski's still there as the pitching coordinator. And Cam Seitzer comes up and takes Chris Johnson's spot as the hitting coach there.
Nice.
So, yeah, there's some nice movement there. I'll move to the development staff, and pretty much everything there is more or less pretty close to the same. Although the Knights interim manager last year, Julio Mascara. He is now back to his job as catching coordinator. And Devin DeYoung hitting initiatives. It's like the special task force for the hitters. He'll work in the ACL.
Right.
He'll also travel around to all the affiliates as well and do things.
Good to
So
see.
yeah. So I mean, for the most part, everybody's keeping jobs, and as last year, we saw that there was the improvement across performance from the minor league system as far as results go. At least from the hitting side of things. Um, I think that the talent's starting to finally come back in pitching for the minors. So
Right.
I think that side of things is going to get a little bit better this year. Although, as mentioned last week, I'm still waiting on them signing starting pitching depth for Charlotte.
Yeah, and let's hope that some of that starting pitching depth in Charlotte is maybe close to MLB ready or has some MLB experience. Because I mean, let's be honest. We've talked about this in the past where I think the average number of starting pitchers used by an MLB team is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 10 or 11 over the course of a season. So there's bound to be, you know, let's, keep our fingers crossed and pray that it's minor as possible. But there's bound to be some starts that are going to need to be filled in for. And we can only hope, especially now that Davis Martin looks like he's the uh oh, how should I put this? He's probably the most typical replacement right now for Mr. Clevenger. If let's say it doesn't look like Clevenger's going to pitch for the White Sox this year, but we don't really know. They can't not pitch him if there's no suspension, because then that becomes an issue where he now has a grievance because MLB has not suspended him and the White Sox cannot treat him unfairly in that case. So he would have to pitch. Now, we still have some time before opening day comes around, but let's just assume that there's a suspension coming. Davis Martin's going to be the guy. So that leaves another hole down there in Charlotte. At least it seems Davis Martin's going to be the guy as of right now, unless somebody gets signed or the Sox get creative somewhere else. With that being the case, and like I said, with the inevitability that somebody's going to get some sort of ailment that's going to keep them from pitching here or there, hopefully, fingers crossed. Uh, we need to have somebody that's going to be ready to step into those starts. Is hopefully they're only spot starts, but you never know. As we've seen over the last few seasons, the White Sox have been plagued by injuries. I'm waiting for the time, and I said this to you in a chat earlier this afternoon, where I'm waiting for the time where a pitcher goes into his windup and throws a ball, and his arm goes with the ball 33 feet to the to home plate.
Yeah, and as
You know what I mean? The whole arm just comes off.
yeah, and like I said, Javi's still swinging. Javi's still swinging if they're playing the Tigers.
You're right. Javi Baez is still swinging at that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy about the promotions. Happy that they feel confident enough to keep the staff that was previously installed with the lower levels and are moving them up and keeping them all together. And if they feel that everybody's doing their job, and if they're trying to establish a organizational way of doing things, I don't think that as long as they feel that the people that are doing those jobs are fulfilling those jobs, I don't think that it necessarily is much of a thing. As long as the guys that are there have an eye for what's going on, and can fix mechanical issues and whatever, as far as like just being able to see like small details and trying to repeat pitching motions and you know getting their you know, hitting approaches sorted out. As long as they can sort that stuff out, all the drills and everything that they're doing across all the levels should be pretty much the same. So I don't think that
Right.
that's necessarily something that we need to necessarily worry about as much anyway.
Right. I am kind of optimistic and looking forward to seeing what the multiple guys that have, you know, biomechanics in their resume somewhere,
Yeah.
what kind of impact that has on the club this year. That's definitely something that you kind of hope it has an immediate impact on the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got Cam Seitzer and Devin DeYoung, who's the roving guy. Both of those guys deal with biomechanics stuff. So I think that you know, they replaced their guy in AAA, CJ, who is the head mechanist, with somebody else who is also into that stuff as well. So, and, it's keeping Danny Farquhar around, who's huge analytical guy, huge
Right.
biomechanics guy. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with not a lot of these guys getting replaced because I feel that the results have been on their way up, and I think that this new
Yeah.
program is working. So, we'll
Yeah,
see.
absolutely.
Yeah, so moving along with the well, I guess we can just go to the BA, Baseball America, or actually we'll go to MLB Pipeline. The White Sox have Colas at 39 or at 89, and then Colson Montgomery at 39. So, as mentioned, we're seeing some movement, and people are recognizing what's going on, and that there is some talent in the White Sox farm system,
Yeah.
which is
Well,
a
for now, Colas is probably going to graduate rather quickly, but I will take 89. For a guy who uh, you know, didn't play for over a year because of his international status and that whole transition to be where he's at right now and to make the jump to the majors most likely very early in this season, if not at the start of the season. I'll take it. Take it. Can't be mad about that at all.
yeah. I mean, the whole thing. Now that we're kind of coming out the other side after emptying out the system, it's nice to see that a couple of guys are progressing, and that
And that should continue here over the next few years.
one would hope. Yeah, so I know that some people looked at Colson Montgomery as a risk in the first round, with him being 19 and from Indiana, not playing against top competition, whatever. Um, well, guess what? You know, you guys balking over some kid's birthday being 2 months in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think he quieted some folks.
Yeah, like we're sitting here thinking about it when it happened, and I'm like, why are they that worried about an additional like what 2 3 months? That it's or actually I guess it's like 5 months or whatever. But I mean, you're looking at a few months, then because of that five
Semantics.
months, yeah, and it's like if he had been drafted when he was a junior, well, guess what? You know, what's the
Right.
difference then? Then he's going to be, just the right, he's pretty much going to be the right age. So if you draft him now when he graduates high school, if the talent's there, the talent's there.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely 100%. It doesn't mean anything other than the fact that yeah, he's a couple months older than some of the rest of the guys that were high school seniors. Whatever. It might even be a benefit and a bonus for him to be just that much more ahead of the curve.
yeah, I mean the whole thing just pretty much didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No, and he is showing everybody why he was drafted in the first round. He came out guns a blazing, did some things that we have not seen out of a minor leaguer at that particular level in quite some time, and impressed quite a bit.
Yeah. Opened a lot of people's eyes, that's for sure. Moving
Yes.
along to Baseball Prospectus, their top 101. They have to be different, so they do 101. Um,
Oh,
Oscar Colas checks in at 76, and Colson Montgomery checks in at 32. So we'll get a 7 spot bump for Colson, and quite a few, what was that, 15, 13 spots for Colas. So, um, again,
32, hitting in a park that is not exactly hitter friendly.
yeah,
Well, I shouldn't say it's not hitter friendly. It's not power hitter friendly, that's for sure.
yeah. Um, so Keith Law from The Athletic, famous White Sox hater, apparently. Everybody seems to think that he hates the White Sox, but I mean, realistically, other than Chris Sale, who he thought was a career reliever, um, for the most part, his skepticism over some White Sox prospects seems pretty well thought out for the most part. He's liked a few guys. The other guys, like he didn't like Nick Madrigal. See how that turned out. He liked Andrew Vaughn, and Andrew Vaughn's hitting. He's still not an outfielder, but
Yeah,
but he's hitting. Um, so as far as his list, Colson Montgomery comes in at number 25, which is huge.
yeah, that is insanely huge.
Yeah. Oscar Colas, however, nowhere to be found. So, I fine. Like I get it. There's, in the top 100, you can only have so many prospects. 100. So the fact that the White Sox have one in there is at least more promising than before. But I mean, realistically, they should have three if you're going to split things up evenly. But for whatever reason, he doesn't think that kind of talent's there. We'll see how that goes. I think with
Yeah,
Noah Schultz putting in serious, you know, opening eyes down in Arizona, that's going to change things for the White Sox as far as how many are going to be in the top 100 probably within the next couple of months.
I was gonna say the midseason rankings will probably change a little bit. I think Christian Mena, if he does what we know he can do, he's got a shot at maybe cracking the very back end of that 100, 101. Like you said, Noah Schultz, Colson Montgomery, unless he falls flat on his face, should stay, you know, packed in there pretty good. So yeah, some things are happening. And just I want to really quickly rewind a little. You know, again, I don't always agree with Keith Law. But there's a lot of folks out there that I don't agree with, and what do I know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have to laugh at the number of fans out there that will say, "Oh, Keith Law's an idiot. Man, that guy sucks," and then turn around and pretty much agree with more than half of the stuff that he puts out there without even realizing they're agreeing with. And you're going, "Okay, wait a minute now. Does he suck? Are you on the same side as him? Like, where are you at? Like, you know, you can't you can't expect everybody to agree on every stinking little bullet point out there. You know what I mean? You're not going to agree with everybody. Everybody's not going to agree with you. But people seem to chew on that one thing that irks them.
Yeah.
And because that one thing irks you, you're like, that guy sucks. He blows. He don't know nothing. I don't know. Guy's been an insider for a while. He's written a couple of books. I don't know if the books are any good or not because I haven't read them.
Yeah. Fair
But he's
enough.
done
Me
it.
either.
But he's done it. And some folks say he's acclaimed. I'll have to take their word for it. But whatever, man. Quit hating.
Yeah. Well, as Grimtall points out, that, might not be your favorite, evaluator of talent, but he is a big Carcass fan if you are into death metal. Um, I think I mentioned earlier that 89 and 39 was MLB Pipeline. That was actually Baseball America. The MLB Pipeline is just slightly off of that. It's 85 for Colas, and I think it was 35, no 38 for Colson Montgomery. So it's not that far off from Baseball America. So there's light at the end of the tunnel again, and the system's on its way up. That's you know
Hey, we've been saying it for over a year now. Just give it some time. It's there. The talent's there. They just moves need to be made for these guys to progress. And that's how it goes, man. Very few guys are going to start in their major league career or minor league career, you know, hovering around that top 100. Very few guys are going to do
yeah
it. A lot of guys are going to make their way up. Some guys have to graduate for new guys to come on. It's just the way it goes. And we've talked about how the last couple of years the White Sox have spent more of their draft on the prep guys than we've seen the White Sox do in the past. So it's going to take a little bit of time for those guys to make their way through and develop. And that's just how it goes.
yeah pretty much. I mean, I'm just happy to see that there is finally some movement in the rankings that people paying attention to them again finally, which is more than it's been for the last few years, and rightfully so. I mean, watched an entire season last year, and there wasn't I don't there was not one team that was a winning team out of all five of the teams in the organization. The most that we got was a 500 White Sox team. So,
Right.
eesh,
Right.
take what I can get.
No level. And that kind of says a lot. Now, is that players? Is that philosophy? Is a little bit of both? Probably. It's probably a little bit of everything. There was some bad luck. There was some injuries. There was some bad philosophies, mostly at the major league level. But these younger guys and the system that has been put together that we've talked about a little bit, probably a lot over the last month, actually. Uh, there's new systems being put into place and new philosophies being taught at the minor league level that, you know, as that philosophy becomes more ingrained in the system, it's going to grow and the guys are going to grow with it. So,
Let's hope. Um, yeah. Not really a whole lot else going on in White Sox world. Been a pretty chill week. Um,
yeah,
which you know
yeah,
what?
it has.
With pitchers and catchers reporting in 2 weeks more or less. I mean, I imagine that there's gonna have to be a couple of moves that are gonna be made, at least to shore up the AAA pitching staff a little
I
bit.
was going to say there's still some holes on that roster down there as far as we know, unless they plan on bumping some guys up from the Barons that we haven't heard about yet. But if that's the case, now you've got holes that you got to plug in Double A. So there's holes. There's still gonna have to be some signings somewhere. And unfortunately, all we've really heard is, well, we got some in. You know, let me try that again. We have some minor league signings,
Yeah.
news here and there. None of them are moves of consequence at any level, no matter what level they're going to. But you keep your fingers crossed that something works out. Maybe we'll find that diamond in the rough. It seems to be the philosophy of the front office these days.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Somebody's got to
I'm
take the
trying. I'm
reins.
trying.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. I
trying.
mean, totally. They're not. I mean, you're not giving us much to work with here, guys. Just saying. You know.
I'm not gonna harp on it. I'm not gonna beat up on it. Turn it into a complain fest. But yeah, please do something to fill some holes.
Yeah. There's gonna. I
Thank you.
mean, there's been a couple of position player minor leagues, things happening. But as far as the pitching goes, there was a couple of moves right off the bat. Yeah, Mark Orr Donuts 33 says find the positives where you can, and that's 100% what you have to do, because otherwise we're pretty much we could sit here and be negative about everything, but I don't really see much of a point in doing that for weeks on end. I mean, we already had an entire season of that last year where we were complaining about things like pretty much from the get go, and nothing changed pretty much through the entire season. There was not really a whole lot of light at the end of the tunnel. There wasn't, you know, really any positivity from at least from us. There was never really like a, yeah, here we go. You know, it was kind of like a, is this seems like it's probably not legit, and it looks nice right now, and at least it's more fun than losing. But we pretty much got more or less what we thought we were going to get all year long anyway. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna. I'm not.
yeah, I'm sure you've seen all over Twitter, there is the meme that is going around, which is, the White Sox way: hope for health, hope for best career seasons, you know,
I'm
and
hanging my hopes that all these hopes work out.
yeah,
That's me staying positive right now.
yep,
I'm gonna sprinkle some positivity. I like your new philosophy actually. Maybe we can bring that energy and the universe and the planets and the stars will align and positivity all around for will work magic for this ball club.
yeah. Well,
So
after last year, um, and just the absolute train wreck of last year, I mean, basically any corner of White Sox social media anywhere, it's pretty much nothing but negativity. And I'm not ready to go there yet.
can't blame anybody,
No,
but
I mean I don't blame anybody for it, but I'm not really ready to, immediately put, this team in the dirt already. I
no, I'm not either. But oof.
they they certainly had a lot of areas where they could have improved, and the Benintendi signing is solid. I didn't think. No, that was the. So he says I think MLB Network gave the Sox an F for their offseason. It was actually James Fegan, the White Sox beat reporter for the Athletic. And I can't blame him. I mean, because the moves that you're looking at, essentially they got Benintendi, and they signed a court case as their fifth starter.
Yeah, and even if he is publicity nightmare, it's
What's
gonna
up?
be a publicity
Oh
nightmare.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to having to hear about that at all.
No,
It's not
no, because
something.
there are some folks that are just not gonna be able to let it. You know, there's that whole if where there's smoke, there's fire mentality, and unfortunately, in the court of public opinion, the way things work in this country these days, it's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent. You're still probably guilty even when you are proven innocent. So, it's a shame. I don't know why, but as the Americans as a society love to poop on one another.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, just the whole thing seems nasty, regardless of what ends up happening, and it's not going to be a positive thing to hear about for the next couple of months, because I'm assuming that this is probably going to go on for a while, and I don't know, if he's even coming to camp. I don't know what's happening, and like you had mentioned earlier,
Well,
is
then he
that
has to.
yeah, unless he gets put on administrative leave or something like that, and that's the thing is
It's
that
the only way.
yeah, and the other thing is like you mentioned, you're looking at a grievance if they cut him before he even pitches, even if they say, screw it, we don't care about the $12 million, we just want him off the team, he's going to file a grievance.
He's going to file a grievance, and this past CBA, in the lockout, and they did, the players kind of took they took back the momentum in their direction, and the union has got a little bit of strength to kind of back itself right now. Not that they didn't before, but he files a grievance that's going to get quite ugly, and that's just another black eye on top of the black eye of having this whole thing go down, and that's really a nightmare. So there's the Sox that I'm glad we're talking about this a little bit because I'm still seeing the angst on the socials
Yeah.
about why is he still here.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's been a week and a half or so since this thing has come out, and oh, he's still on the team. They can't do anything. They cannot cut him. It like you said, it's not even if they said screw it, we'll give up the $12 million. They can't. They can't cut him. He can file a grievance. If they bring him to camp and they don't let him pitch, he can file a grievance. If he makes it through camp and we get to opening day and there's still no administrative leave or still no suspension, they have to give him his spot in the rotation as long as he's healthy, or he's going to file a grievance. So the Sox, I mean, I'm sure they could come up. I see you shaking your head over there.
Well, I mean, I'm
I'm
just,
sure they could. Well, they could come up with some ghost injury. But, if Clevenger doesn't like that, he can file a grievance.
yeah, no,
If
that's
his
fair.
agent doesn't like it, they'll file an grievance. You know, the Sox, it feels like a setup. And really quickly, I just want to point out that MLB's policy on this stuff is what is holding them up. And
Yeah.
that policy includes uh, not telling teams that the fact that these investigations are going on, which kind of sucks because it's all about privacy, which I get, and giving both parties involved in the investigation the right to a due process, I guess, without the court of a public opinion weighing in, and but it seems like privately behind closed doors, maybe ball clubs should maybe be aware of this because now the White Sox are on the hook for this $12 million and this publicity nightmare that they've got going on. And MLB knew about this investigation last summer.
Yeah, it's tough.
So
It's definitely tough. I mean, there's not, but there,
how do they
that's
there's
how the
part of me
collective
goes, how do
bargaining.
they allow it to happen? How do they allow a team to put themselves in that hole? You know, I think there needs to be a change in that policy. I think they should be able to do that behind closed doors. Like, hey, we're not going to tell the whole world that Mike Clevenger is under investigation, but don't sign him.
Yeah.
Let him sit out there as a free agent. Let people wonder why he's a free agent. We're not going to tell anybody why. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying it's it just seems like the Sox were set up,
Oh.
you know, or
Uh.
any other team that would have signed him for that matter.
Yeah. No. That's fair. It says Mark Orr says it's going to be a huge spring training distraction as it is. Yeah. No. 100%. There's no way that this is not. Even if he's not there, there's still going to be tons of questions about it.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to answer these questions, and it's not anything that anybody really wants to hear about.
No, and I mean the truth of the matter is justice needs to be served on whichever direction it goes. You know what I mean? If he is guilty and he's an abuser,
Yeah.
well, then he needs to pay the price for that. If it turns out that this was a money grab by his ex, and she needs to get her day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just hope that everything works its way out. Unfortunately, if it turns out that she was in fact wrongly accusing him, I don't know if he ever fully recovers from that ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he already had some bings against him before that, so
He did.
it's not like it's not of his own doing. I don't
Right.
think that even if it ends up, that some of this stuff is overblown and it's not as bad as it seems. It's still, you have to question the character of the person who gets accused most of the time, that you're sitting there wondering, well, what was really going on? But again, it's none of our business really either.
Right.
Stuff like
Exactly.
this happens every day. It's not good, but um, it's not none of my business what happens in their house. I just
Right.
don't want to necessarily have a guy around that does that kind of thing. And I'm sure that most of the people, that are in the organization that have families don't want to have anything like that around either.
Right. Exactly.
So,
But it just God, the timing couldn't have been worse. We saw the distraction that a certain shortstop went through last year, and some folks assume that it had something to do with the clubhouse and the attitude of the team last year. Now we've got a whole another domestic issue going on this
yeah.
season. It's we just can't seem to get away from the bad media here lately. But
Did you happen to catch the Giolito Chris Rose interview?
no, but I heard it was excellent,
It's
and
it's
I
it's
definitely
interesting.
intend to see that.
Yeah, you should go take a listen to it. For anybody that does not know what we're talking about, Chris Rose, the former MLB Network host that used to do the Intentional Talk with Kevin Millar, he's got his own thing on John Boy, and Lucas Giolito did, like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour yesterday with him on his show Chris Rose Rotation, and we tweet. It was out on our Twitter account yesterday. If you're looking for it, it's on YouTube. I believe it's also in podcast form if you're looking to find it. But definitely worth a listen. Ladder enjoyer.
Hey,
Thank you for the follow. If
ladder enjoyer.
that's
All
right,
right.
who doesn't enjoy a ladder? A good ladder.
Are
Anywho,
we talking? Okay, never mind. Well, I'm gonna just stop right there.
um, yeah. Speaking of, seems like a good place to end this week as far as the podcast edition goes. Maybe we stick around on here for a few more minutes, but on the stream,
Yeah, I'm willing to chat
yeah.
for a little bit.
At Daily White Sox on Twitter, whitesoxdaily.substack.com for published articles and these in podcast form every week. Last week I started uploading the stream to YouTube, so you can go there and view as well. And you can also search us on Facebook. We have a fan page over there as well. My name is Ian Eskridge. For my co-host, the Danny Miller. You guys have a great night.